One of the most common suggestions in my YouTube comments over the course of the past month has been, Roger, will you please do an updated arc ranking video for One Piece? I haven't done one in a while. My thoughts have changed on a lot of these story arcs, and so I figured, why not? One Piece is on break this weekend. Let's share my updated arc rankings for every single arc in One Piece. All right, here we go. We're gonna go in order. I'm taking into consideration the manga and the anime, my own personal thoughts on this. We're starting with Romance Dawn. Romance Dawn for me is an A. I think Romance Dawn is an excellent first arc for One Piece. Excellent. Sets up the character of Luffy, sets up his dream. You get to meet Shanks, you get the stuff with Lucky Roo. Still to this day, people are like, did he teleport? What's he using, some special type of hockey? I think, you know, the punching of the eel as Luffy sets out to sea. Shanks putting the head on Luffy. Ah, boy, I don't want to do this. I absolutely love Buggy. I think his crew is funny. I like the little dog in Orange Town. Choo Choo. I like Choo Choo. But overall, I would say Orange Town is the second weakest arc in all the East Blue. I think D is the right place for it. This next one as well might hurt people, but I'm doing it. Easily the worst arc in the East Blue. No question, Serp Village. Kaya's fine. Obviously they get to marry. Usopp's a great character now. But at the time, if I'm being honest, when I first read this, did I like Usopp after this? No. Usopp annoyed the heck out of me. Do I like Kuro? Kind of. You know what my fondest memory of Kuro is? Playing as him in the GameCube One Piece game. You know what? I'm doing something already. I'm changing one of my rankings already. Romance Dawn is going B, Baratier is going A. Baratier is going A. Baratier has Mihawk versus Zoro. I still think Don Krieg is a pretty funny early villain. I love all the stuff with Sanji. Sanji's backstory. Zeph, Baratier's an A. It's above Romance Dawn. It's a tier above Romance Dawn, despite the iconic moments of Romance Dawn. And then the reason I did this is because Arlong is a clear S. Clear! Not only do I have a lot of nostalgia for it, I read it in the North American physical volumes of Shonen Jump. I was like, what is this series? This is the thing that got me into the series. This is the thing that got me going back to volume 1 and reading all those volumes. This is the thing that got me watching the anime. Arlong Park is the thing that turned me into a One Piece fan. Solid S. Arlong is a great villain. The march on Arlong Park is fantastic. The music is fantastic in the anime. Nami's moment sitting there, Luffy putting the hat on Nami, the stabbing of the tattoo, everything. If you get to Arlong Park and you don't like One Piece, you're not gonna ever like One Piece. It's your litmus test. It should be the litmus test for all your friends. Did they get to Arlong Park? Did they like Arlong Park? They're gonna like One Piece. Did they not? Just tell them don't even bother. This is where most people would put Logtown. I think Logtown is actually a B. Logtown gave us the introduction of Smoker, the introduction of Dragon, that iconic moment of Luffy about to be killed by Buggy with the lightning strikes. You get the introduction of the swords. Even the first interaction we have with Smoker is really good, where Smoker looks like this really scary guy and that little girl drops her ice cream when she runs into him. And he goes, I'm sorry that my leg ate your ice cream, let me buy you some more, kid. Iconic. Easy B. I like Reverse Mountain more than most, I think. I like Laboon a lot. I don't know what it is about this goofy little whale, but I love him. It's gotta be C. Is it as good as the upper echelons? No, of course not. But it's gotta be the top of the bottom for sure. A lot of people like Whiskey Peak because we get Luffy versus Zoro, Zoro fighting the 100 bounty hunters of Baroque Works or whatever. Do I think it's better than the stuff with Laboon? Honestly, I like Laboon more. It's certainly not Serp Village level, but I like Laboon more as a character, which is how I'm ranking this, so Whiskey Peak goes to C. I like Little Garden probably more than Whiskey Peak and Reverse Mountain. I understand why people would think it's boring, but I like the stuff with the giants. I thought Mr. 3 was cool. That iconic moment where Zoro's like, I'm just gonna chop off my leg with the candle wax. I like it. You get that moment with Dory and Broggy at the ending. I would say it's above Reverse Mountain for me. Again, some of these will change as I'm going through this arc list, but I like Little Garden. And Little Garden, I think, grew on me over time. I think if you would have checked my tier list from like 3 years ago when I did this, I think Little Garden would have probably been lower. Little Garden probably would have been like down here. I think Whiskey Peak would have been down here too a couple years ago. I think Reverse Mountain would have been down here. But having like reread some of those early arcs, I think it's this for me. You know what? Actually, you know what? Whiskey Peak is the top of D. It is the top of D. Looking at these, Whiskey Peak's the top of D. Okay, these next two are going to be very controversial. Drum to me is high A. Drum is above Baratier for me. I understand why people don't like Drum Island. I get why some people don't like Chopper. I do. Dr. Hiluluk's speech, to me, is one of the all-time best speeches in the entirety of One Piece. And encapsulates why I love this series so much. Does Drum Island have Wapol? Yes. But do I like Wapol as a villain? I do. Drum Island is A. Here's where the dislikes are gonna start coming. Alabasta, reading the volume at the time as a kid, really enjoyed it. Over time, having experienced a lot of arcs that are very similar to Alabasta, things like Dressrosa. If I'm thinking of the absolute highs in the series for me, and I look at Dressrosa and I look at Alabasta, and I know we're not at Dressrosa yet, and I have a lot of issues with the end of Dressrosa, believe me, we'll get to them. I think the highs of Dressrosa are higher than the highs of Alabasta for me. Alabasta's B. I love Vivi as a character, I do. But looking back on Alabasta, when you look at the consequences of what happened in Alabasta, was it hype at the time? Was it amazing seeing Pell run off into the sunset with the nuke? Of course it was. Alabasta would be up here. What do we find out later? Oh, Pell's completely fine? Bro, instant down here. Instant. I think I might have even put it lower in older arc streams, but realistically, I don't think Alabasta's never going to drop out of B, but it's as low of B as you can go for me. It is also very difficult to rewatch. I think there are scenes in Alabasta that are easily rewatchable. But I urge you to go back and reread or rewatch Alabasta today. Vivi's Goodbye is great though. Completely agree with the chat on that one. Vivi's Goodbye is great. Okay, Jaya is an A, above Baratier. Just as I said that going back to Alabasta, you sort of see the cracks in the armor, Jaya just gets better. That moment of Bellamy taking Luffy for granted, and Luffy just, boom, one-shotting him after the shot of the springs, incredible. Luffy meeting Blackbeard, setting up everything to come in the story. There's a lot of S-tier moments in Jaya. I could understand why some people don't love it because of the Saru twins or whatever, but on the whole, it's an A. With that being said, Skypiea is an S for me. Skypiea, just like Jaya, continues to be more and more relevant to the story as we go on. I have loved Skypiea from the first time that I read Skypiea. I loved it. Now, I will say this, because I brought this up relatively recently. And in fact, let me pull up the tweet. Someone asked me earlier, because I brought this up in a recent video, where I actually started One Piece. So they said, you said in Murphy's video you've been reading weekly since Arlong Park, and your newest video was Davy Back Fight. So let me clarify. And I said, I started reading the One Piece manga, and Arlong Park issues were monthly, so I binged the One Piece volumes I had available. Keep this in mind, because look where I started reading week to week. Jump to Davy Back Water 7 when I started reading as soon as the chapters came out online. I never had a week-to-week experience with Skypiea. The whole game, I never had to go through that week-to-week. Had I gone through that week-to-week, Skypiea would be much lower. Skypiea would be like a B, probably. I still love Skypiea, and a lot of aspects of it, the Nolan Flashback, incredible. However, I never had that experience. Again, this is a personal tier list. Eneru, Obi agrees with me, Eneru is an amazing villain. I love Eneru. I can't wait for Eneru to come back. I love his devil fruit power. I love the technology of Skypiea, the stuff with the dials. The only thing that I would say that could potentially mark Skypiea down to an A is, again, that Will of P. Just as Pell survived the nuke, Pagaya survives the trillion volts or whatever. I do love the Nolan Flashback. I think the Nolan Flashback is probably one of my favorites in the entire series. It feels very unlike anything else in One Piece. It is the only window into that generation that we really have, which is smack dab in the middle of where we are in the story from the Void Century to Roger's generation. There's no other aspect of One Piece that really gives us a good view into that. It's an S. All right. Oh, oh boy. I'm gonna get my sword for this one because I feel like some people are gonna want to fight with me after this. I'm sorry. It's a B. I like Long Ring Longland. I like it a lot for multiple reasons. Let me explain why. In fact, no, I'm not gonna do that. I was gonna put it above Alabasta. I'm not doing that. It's here. This is where it belongs. It belongs in low B. It belongs in B. Definitely above Little Garden, Reverse Mountain, Whiskey Peak, Orangetown, Serp Village, for sure. Davy Backfight arc in the anime, trash. Absolute trash. Davy Backfight in the anime, like F. There's a lot of filler in there. It's not good. However, Davy Backfight in the manga, the comedy is peak. Zoro and Sanji teaming up with each other. Afro Luffy. I love Usopp being his Doc Lewis, being in his corner. hyping him up. I love Afro Luffy. I want to see Afro Luffy come back at some point in the story. I love Long Ring Long Land in the manga. And also the other thing that people forget about here, which is a major thing in the Davy Back fight. People will slander Davy Back. There's one major thing that happens in this arc that is awesome. Kuzan. People forget Kuzan is introduced here. That is the first time we ever come face to face with an admiral in the entire series. It is hype. We've had vice admirals up to that point. We had Smoker, Garp was teased and stuff. That's the first time in the story you meet an admiral. And that sets in motion everything with Water 7 and his lobby, leading to the rest of the stuff with the war. It's really, really good. Kuzan, awesome comedy. Afro Luffy, Zoro and Sanji team up. It's high beat, honestly. I say it's low here. If I kind of want to do this, I really do. I kind of want to do this. I do. Because I could go back and reread Davy Back Fight. I have a couple times. I enjoy it every time. I don't feel the same way about Alabasta. Again, this is my own personal list. You could disagree with me. It's fine. But I like it. Let's talk about both of these at the same time. Word this correctly, Roger. The fights in Enies Lobby are amazing. They are really, really good. However, Enies Lobby has the weird stuff with the judge. It's got the other giants, Omo and Kashi. The stuff with like the seahorses. There's some weird stuff going back to Enies Lobby. The soap battle. There's some weird stuff. When you go back and read Water 7, beginning to end, fire. Even the stuff with the Frankie family, Luffy versus Usopp. Well, I'm going to say this right now. They're both at least A, minimum. Water 7, perfect arc to me. Water 7 is the perfect arc. Ends in tragedy. We got to go save Robin. Teaming up with somebody who's formerly a villain, Frankie. The amazing twist of Galila being Cypher Pole. Like, one of the best. One of the best twists in the entire series. Never saw it coming, especially week to week. And again, Luffy versus Usopp. Water 7 to me is a perfect arc of One Piece. Enies Lobby, I would say, is also potentially low S, high A. It's definitely high A minimum. For the time being, I'm putting it in low S. Because we still get I Wanna Live, we still get the fight against Lucci, Gear 3, the death of the Mary. It's gotta be low S. I can't put it any lower than low S for now. But I want to unequivocally say I like Water 7 better, which I don't think a lot of people agree with. I think if you ask most people, they would say they like Enies Lobby more because of the fights, which I understand. It's a preference. But the twist of Water 7, the backstory in Water 7, everything. I love Water 7. I think it's a more consistent arc, and I really enjoy it. Water 7. Post Enies Lobby. Okay? This is volume 45 of One Piece. The world building in post Enies Lobby is incredible. I think people do not give enough credit to this arc for how good it is. You get the introduction of the Yonko, you get Usopp's apology, you get Frankie joining the crew. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I might just do that. If this includes Mary's funeral, this is in S and Enies Lobby's A. They get the Sunny, you get the stuff with Garp, you get Usopp's apology, Frankie joining the crew. Like, there's so much good stuff in post Enies Lobby. You also get Whitebeard versus Shanks here. Ace versus Blackbeard. Like, what? My chat is saying that Mary's death is technically Enies Lobby and not post Enies Lobby. Here's what I'm gonna do then. For the time being, they're both gonna be an S. They're both gonna be an S. For the time being, but know that I think, in my heart of hearts, I think this is true. Now that I'm looking at it again, and I'm reevaluating my feelings, as a standalone arc, I think Skypiea is my favorite of these 5. But if we're ranking the arcs against each other, I think I gotta do that. Thriller Bark, I would say, is a C. I think it's probably better than Reverse Mountain 2. Yeah. The top of C. Nothing Happened is an all-time great moment for One Piece. Thriller Bark retroactively made Reverse Mountain better. So it's gotta be in that same tier list, and it's gotta be higher than it. Sabaodi's an S for a multitude of reasons. Sabaodi's an S because of the supernova being introduced. We meet Law for the first time. Get that amazing punch against the Celestial Dragon in the auction house. Obviously the crew being separated. Kizaru showing up. Rayleigh. All of it. Sabaody is like very, very easily rereadable. Easily rewatchable, highly emotional, and just all around a good time. I think I want to put Arlong here. Maybe I don't want to do that though. I really think Skypiea is a great. No, you know what? No. Skypiea should be top of A. I think Sabaody should be higher than Enies Lobby, honestly. I think Sabaody should be higher than Arlong. Well, no. Yes. No. Yes. Yeah, it should be higher than Arlong. The difference between these are so minuscule. I mean, these are all obviously fantastic arcs. I love all of these. I also really love the stuff with Duval and Sabaody. I think that is also peak One Piece comedy. Which again, I feel like when people are putting together these tier lists, they don't take into consideration the comedy. Some people just like the action and the adventure, and I understand. But in terms of comedy, Duval is like one of the funniest reveals in the entire series. You guys are saying I should do an S+ tier for my absolute favorite arc at the ending? All right, I'll do that. Realistically, I think Amazon Lily can't go any higher than C. However, it does still have a lot of redeeming qualities. It's got the stuff with the introduction of hockey, officially. It's got the jokes with the family jewels with Luffy. I do love Hancock as a character, I do. But I don't know. I don't think I like Amazon Lily as much as everybody else. You know what? I'll put Amazon Lily above Reverse Mountain. If you've been watching me for a long time, you know how I feel about this next arc. I love Impel Down. I loved seeing the other characters again from the previous story arcs. I loved seeing Magellan, who was an actual threat of a villain, who would have killed Luffy if not for Bon Clay and Ivankov. He would have killed Luffy. He would have killed him. He would have killed Blackbeard. Had they not had the antidote and done all this stuff, Blackbeard and Luffy would have died in Impel Down. They would have died there. Bon Clay sacrificed at the ending. The interaction between Buggy and Mr. 3. The introduction of Jinbei, another future member of the Straw Hat crew. Initial thought, Impel Down goes in S tier. However, if we're comparing these, Water 7, Post Enies Lobby, Sabaody. While I like the arc as a whole, I think I cannot, in good conscience, put it above these three. I think Impel Down's realistically here. And I think for the time being, Water 7 is my number one favorite arc. And then moving from one S tier arc to another S tier arc, now we've got Marineford. This is tough. There was also a time in which Marineford was S+ for me. And that would be like that. And that would move to here. There was a time. Marineford, outside of the stuff with Mary's funeral, was the first time I really cried at a manga. And it wasn't at what you'd expect. Because Mary's funeral, I shed a tear reading it for the first time. It really hit me emotionally. But the moment during Marineford that makes me cry, will still make me cry to this day if I rewatch the scene, is not the scene you'll expect. It is not the death of Ace. Because the death of Ace was spoiled for me when I was reading week to week, because people were putting R.I.P. Portgas D. Ace in their forum signatures on Arlong Park. The scene that got me in Marineford is Whitebeard's death. Whitebeard's death. Hearing that music in the anime, reading it in the manga, getting the tally of all of his injuries, and then seeing that he never had a coward's injury on his back. His proclamation that One Piece does exist, that Teach isn't the one they're waiting for. One of my all-time favorite moments in the series. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it and recounting it in my head, and thinking about some of those matchups, the standoff against the three admirals, the death of Ace, Kobe standing up to him, Shanks stopping the war, I think Marineford might be above Water 7 for me. Post-war is, you know what, maybe even higher. Honestly, post-war could go up here. And maybe I move Romance Dawn up. This feels better. Return to Sabaody, for me, is a C. High C, but it's a C. A couple years ago when I did these tier lists, and when I talked about my favorite arcs in the series, and my least favorite arcs, one that would always come up on the bottom was Fishman Island. Always. I would always talk about how I really didn't like Fishman Island. It was a drag reading it week to week. But But, I have since reread Fishman Island. And upon rereading it, I actually think Fishman Island is minimum high D, potentially C. In fact, I think we move this all the way up here. We move these two down, and I can live with this. No. Wait. I am putting it below Little Garden. Hody sucks, right? We all agree with this. Hody sucks as a villain. But Fishman Island, the flashback, the Fisher Tiger flashback, the introduction of Koala, seeing the Straw Hats doing their stuff after the time skip, the setting in motion of Shirahoshi being Poseidon, it's really, really good. Do I still think Vanderdecken stinks? Yes, I don't like Vanderdecken. I think there's a lot of important stuff in Fishman Island that people overlook when they rank Fishman Island. It's very easy to see the flaws of Fishman Island. It's more difficult thinking back on it, especially if you haven't reread it in a while, to find the positives. But I do think there are a lot of positives in Fishman Island that a lot of people disregard. And so for me, there's still a lot of negatives, still a lot of positives. Lands right there, C tier for me. Punk Hazard to me, personally, is B. Personally. I know a lot of people disagree with me on this because of the running. I understand the hatred for Punk Hazard, but I love the fight with Monet. Zoro's moment with Monet. Have you ever met a wild animal that doesn't bite? The return of Law, of our boy, coming back, fighting out that Punk Hazard was actually where Akainu and Kuzan fought during the time skip. Caesar Clown actually being funny, being an important character later on in the story. Meeting the underground characters, the theories that sent the internet ablaze. Who those underground characters were, who they were working for. The interactions with the other Straw Hats, with the mind switches, where you got Nami in Frankie's head, Frankie is Chopper, like even Chopper's interaction with Law forming the alliance with Luffy. And then one of my all-time favorite moments in all of One Piece, Law's fight against Virgo, saying I broke the gear, in both the anime and the manga, is one of my absolute favorite moments. Seriously, I would say is a top 10 moment for me in all of One Piece. I love Law breaking the gear. Again, the arc definitely has issues, much like Fishman Island, but I think for me, there are a lot more positives in Punk Hazard that I look back on fondly than I do in Fishman Island. Which is why it's sitting in B for me. Dressrosa, think back to this, week to week. I remember reading this week to week. We meet Fujitora in the gambling hall. Law and Luffy versus Doflamingo. The Law flashback, which in my opinion is one of the 3 best flashbacks in the entirety of One Piece. Potentially number 1. Dressrosa is, even the stuff in the Coliseum, people forget about Don Shinjao. The Coliseum was hype, getting these fights with these other characters. We get a tournament arc that people have been waiting for so long. So good. Then, the Birdcage, the Tontadas. Now, Greenbit was hype because of Doflamingo Law and Fujitora. However, had the last, fourth of Dressrosa been a little tighter, Dressrosa would have been an S for me. Had the last bit just been tuned up a bit. But, because it wasn't, I gotta put it at the lowest of A. I have to. And I still think Dressrosa is better than Alabasta. I will stand by that probably until the end of the series. I still enjoy it more. I cannot put an arc that includes the Corazon flashback and Sabo coming back any lower than A. I can't. Let's talk about Zoe. Zoe is so concise, gives us so much information, so much world building, introduces us to our number 1 Mammoth Boy, Jack the Drought. Mammoth Boys for life, all right? Has that amazing Raizo is safe moment paired with the beginning of the arc that started off strong with the comedy with Ryunosuke, the introduction of the Minx, the introduction of Carrot, Inuarashi, Nekomamushi, the stuff with the road poneglyphs, finding out the ties with the Koski clan and how that plays into Wano country. Incredible. Zoe is an S for me. Zoe is an S. Zoe is easily rewatchable, easily rereadable. I still to this day walk around my apartment going, Nekomamushi no danani. I love it. I love it. I love Zoe. And Sanji getting the wedding invite, getting whisked off to go marry Pudding. We see Capone. We find out more about Big Mom. We find out that Peckham's is left for dead. We leave with Pedro and Peckham's and Carrot at the end of all of it. We have that question of who the traitor was that sold them all out. Obviously, we now know it was Kanjuro. At the time, we didn't know that. So we were like, is one of the minks bad? And, of course, that final moment with Momonosuke and Luffy and Zunisha slamming down on Jack. Amazing. Oh, boy. Okay, here we are. The moment I've been dreading. By the end of Whole Cake week to week, D. However, this is not my final ranking, so let me explain myself. Let me walk you through my full experience with Whole Cake week to week. Whole Cake starts. We get Reiju. We get the Vinsmokes. We get all this setup. Then we move into Seducing Woods. Then we find out the stuff with Capone. And the plan, the Big Mom battle plan. We get the Big Mom flashback. We get the tea party. Really? I mean, Katakuri, the tea party chapters, the Big Mom flashback, that grouping of chapters, that like 10 to 15, incredible. Incredible. Some of the best chapters of One Piece in a row that we've ever had. From the beginning of the tea party through the rest of the tea party, leading up to when the cake falls, amazing. Sanji standing on the table saving the Vinsmokes. Capone, Caesar Clown shooting off the giant poison missile. The Big Mom flashback. Big News Morgan, Stussy, the musical number. Incredible. Incredible. And then, week by week, little by little, this starts to fall. And we see Big Mom chasing them, and we get Flampe. Once it was like 3 to 4 chapters where the Sunny was going to be destroyed and all this other stuff, and obviously none of that was going to happen, it was a D. But I'm going to swallow my pride here. I'm going to do it. Upon reread, I cannot put it lower than high mid. Does the stuff at the ending still suck? Running through the Seducing Woods. Yes. Yes, it does still suck. Do I still not like the continuous playing of Big Mom for laughs? True, I don't. But the tea party, Luffy versus Katakuri, Luffy versus Sanji, the stuff with the Vinsmokes, and the musical numbers, despite the Seducing Woods, despite running around, all the new characters that we were introduced to, Katakuri, Big News Morgans, all these like top tier characters for me, like some of my favorites of all time, it's gotta then be B. And then I thought about it more. And I thought, okay, Katakuri, Luffy. Let's compare that. Luffy versus Crocodile. Do I hate that Katakuri stabs himself? Still to this day, Flampe, all that stuff. I do. But do I find Katakuri, upon looking at the choreography between the fights of Luffy Crocodile and Luffy Katakuri, do I like Luffy Katakuri more? I do. I do. And then, thinking back on it again, removing my nostalgia glasses, removing, how I was feeling week to week and the saltiness of being a content creator at the time. Let's move that away from it. Objectively, let's look at this. How do I feel when I reread the Tea Party? It's better than anything in Long Ring Longland. It's better than anything in Logtown. And then it comes down to this. Dressrosa versus Whole Cake Island. And the end pacing of Dressrosa versus the end pacing of Whole Cake. Dressrosa's is worse. It is. Dressrosa, in my opinion, has a worse ending batch of chapters looking back on it than Whole Cake does. However, the highs of Dressrosa edge out Whole Cake. And I think it really just comes down to what characters you like. I love Sabo. I love Doflamingo. I love Law. Those three define Dressrosa for me. Looking at how Big Mom's been treated in the story since Whole Cake Island, I think Dressrosa has still got to stay above Whole Cake Island. Final answer, despite Sanji and the Germa, ultimately I think I land high mid Whole Cake Island. Final answer, high B. These next two are going to be pretty easy, I think. There has never been a better time to be a YouTuber than week-to-week Reverie. Never. The amount of world building that we were getting, the introduction of Imu-sama, the revolutionaries, it was the best. Seeing all these characters interact again, it was like the magic of seeing those character interactions that I loved about Impel Down, paired with the world building of post Enies Lobby. It's like if you took these two story arcs and combined them, you get Reverie. You get Reverie. And I would say Reverie is like an S+. However, if we're taking the anime into the consideration, it drops all the way down to the top of A. You know what? I'm going to do something, I think. If I'm going to have a top 5, I'm going to have a bottom 5. Because now I'm thinking about it again with the anime into consideration. Whole Cake Island and the anime rules. Rules. The pacing is weird still in certain parts, but the added element of music, the way like the homies were animated and everything, it's excellent. So I would say Whole Cake is closer to Dressrosa than I would have originally thought. I gotta readjust some of this. Okay, now we've got Wano left, and I've got 7 in the S tier. That should really only be 5. I've got Marineford as my top arc, and the high tier is a mess right now. Serp Village doesn't even really suck that much. None of these really suck that much. They suck by One Piece standards. But no, this isn't right. This isn't right. I gotta readjust this. I feel like I need a tier between High and Pirate King. I'm readjusting all these. This is way harder than I thought it was gonna be. All right, so I readjusted some things. Dressrosa and Whole Cake have to be their own tier. I like the idea of mid being split up into 3, and really I don't heavily dislike Reverse Mountain. I don't even heavily dislike any of these either. I just kind of, they're like, whatever. I'm gonna put 5 in S+. I'm gonna put Marineford, Water 7. Whoa, it's tough. I'm putting Reverie back up there. I'm putting Skypiea back up there. I'm putting Post Enies Lobby up there. I'm putting Reverie higher than Zoe. No, I'm not. They're staying there. Putting Enies Lobby there. I'm putting Skypiea above Enies Lobby. Putting Arlong below Enies Lobby. Impel Down below Arlong. Sabaody Zoe. Okay, now, things are clicking now. I like this grouping of 6. Marineford, Water 7, Post Enies Lobby, Sabaody, Zoe, and Reverie. I like this a lot. Jaya, Drum Island, Baradier. Yes, I like this. Yes. All right. I think this is good. So far, this is feeling good right now. Now that we've readjusted things, and I feel better about it, let's move to Wano country. I still, despite how long Wano has been, have never felt even once it dragging as much as Dressrosa or Whole Cake. And the only thing in Wano that makes me go, it's here with them, the only thing, whoops, no, whoa. Oh, I can't put it back down. The only thing that makes me think that is Big Mom's amnesia. That's the only thing that I think is anywhere near as bad as some of the worst things in Whole Cake and Dressrosa. However, Big Mom doesn't still have amnesia. We got introduced to Yamato. We had the Roger flashback. We have Roof Piece. Already A. It has to be A. I cannot see Wano going any lower than this. And I know a lot of people hate Wano country. I know. There's a lot of people who think it's been going on too long. I am not one of those people. I've been enjoying... Wano has renewed my faith in Oda, and Wano has sort of renewed my love of the series. I think there was a time at the end of Whole Cake... Well, really, it was after Reverie ended. It was the beginning of Wano, thinking back on Whole Cake, where I was getting really tired of the series. But I don't put that on early Wano, because early Wano is good. I put that on my feelings, my residual feelings, coming off a Whole Cake, and thinking back on Dressrosa. So I don't really put that on Wano country. Early Wano, like Act 1 of Wano, I still really enjoy. The stuff in the prison I actually think is pretty fun. The only thing, like I said, that I really don't like is Big Mom's amnesia. But I love Onigashima. I'm loving it. I'm loving it week to week. I think I gotta put it in A tier. I do. And I enjoy the anime. I think the anime is better than it's ever been. And I think there is opportunity by the end of Wano to be here. I think we could be looking at that, potentially even this by the end of Wano. But I don't think it's going to get there. I don't even think it's going to get here, to be honest. I think it's going to end up somewhere along the lines of here. Like somewhere along here. If Oda sticks the landing, it's going to hover between these. If Oda kind of screws up the ending, I think it's going to hover around here somewhere. And if the ending is like abysmally bad and the pacing's terrible, it's going to end up here. But this is the absolute lowest it's going to drop. This is where Wano is now. This is realistically where I think Wano could end by the ending if he sticks the landing. But I'm going to put it top of A for now, just because it's unfinished. So now what we have to do is move 2 more into S+. For that, I think I'm sticking with this. I like the look of that. I like the top 5 being Marineford, Water 7, Post Enies Lobby, Sabaody, Zoe, then Reverie, Skypiea, Enies Lobby, Arlong Park, and Impel Down, rounding out the top 10. Oh, in fact, even when I said that, it's coming out of my mouth. Yes, that is my top 10. Marineford, Water 7, Post Enies Lobby, Sabaody, Zoe, Reverie, Skypiea, Enies Lobby, Arlong Park, Impel Down. That's my top 10. That is. I'm locking that in. When I said it out loud, it fits. And then you've got the high A's. Yep. 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 This is it. I have officially ranked every arc in One Piece. Now it is time for me to rest. Please let me know in the comment section what you think of my list, what you thought of my thought process going through all this. This was a lot of fun. Thank you very much. I gotta check out everybody else's tier list. I see Rex in the chat saying he's gonna send me his. Thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye, everybody.